There comes a point when you have to stop asking yourself whether you feel motivated to start asking a better question. So let's have a real conversation. Let's have a behind the scenes moment, one where y'all can get to know me a little bit behind the podcast. What is the next move that could actually move me forward? A lot of people wonder that in their daily lives. And oftentimes it's not really the prettiest move. It's not the move that'll get the most applause or the most attention. It's not the move that makes you look busy. Social media, so many people want to look busy, but that don't make money. The move that creates momentum and the move that generates an opportunity. And yes, the move that can lead to money. Welcome back into Selfless Systems. I'm Jenn Fix. This is where we talk about the soul behind what you're building and the systems required to make it sustainable. Today, I want to talk about the difference between doing more work and doing work that moves your business forward. Because those are not always the same thing. You can spend an entire day working and still avoid the one action most closely connected to revenue. You can redesign your graphics, change the wording on your website, create another offer, research another platform, move things around on your calendar, and check your numbers 17 times. I know, because I'm guilty. And convince yourself that you had a productive day. But at the end of it, you still haven't made the offer. You haven't followed up with the lead. And you haven't asked for the sale. You haven't told anyone how to pay you. You've been active, but you haven't necessarily moved. I know that because I've had to confront it in my own business. There are days when I can create all day long. I can build content, develop ideas, improve systems, pour energy into the bigger vision. And all of that has value. But a business cannot survive on creativity alone. Eventually, the work has to connect to an offer. The offer has to connect to a person. And that person has to be given a clear opportunity to say yes. This is the part a lot of entrepreneurs avoid. We don't always avoid it because we're lazy. Sometimes we avoid it because suddenly creates a moment of truth. When you make an offer, someone can say no. And when you send the follow-up, they can ignore you. When you put a price on your work, somebody can question it. So we retreat within ourselves into a safer form of productivity. We keep creating, we keep adjusting, we keep preparing. And we tell ourselves that we need one more piece before we're ready. But preparation can become procrastination wearing a business suit. At some point, you have to make the money move. That does not mean money is the only thing that matters. It means you're building a business, not an endless unpaid project. Your mission matters. Quality of your work matters. The way you treat people matters. But if the business is not generating revenue, eventually you will no longer have the time, energy, or resources to keep serving anyone. Revenue is not a betrayal of your purpose. Revenue protects your ability to continue. Revenue is not betrayal of your purpose. Revenue protects your ability to continue. If you are creating content, generating attention, or building an audience, but you cannot clearly see how that attention is supposed to become revenue, this is exactly what I examine inside the $99 attention conversion audit. I'll review the path between someone discovering you and becoming a paying customer. You receive a focused assessment, a personalized video review, and the top 3 changes I believe deserve your attention first. This is not vague motivation or another list of generic marketing tips. It is a direct look at what may be interrupting your conversion process and what you can do next. To get your $99 attention conversion audit, visit neonincome.ai. Now let's get back to the show. One of the most important decisions that I've made recently is to stop treating revenue like something that will happen accidentally. Hope is not the sales system. Posting is not automatically a sales system. Views are not automatically a sales system. Even having a large audience does not guarantee that anyone understands what you sell or why they should even buy it. Attention is valuable, but attention without direction can become noise. If somebody watches your video, reads your post, or listens to your podcast, what happens next? Do they know what problem you solve? Do they know who your offer is for? Do they understand the result? And do they know where to go? Can they buy without navigating a maze? And have you actually asked them to take action? These questions sound simple, but simple does not mean insignificant. Sometimes the biggest problem in a business is not the quality of the offer. It is the lack of a clear path leading to it. People cannot accept an offer that they never clearly received. That is why I am becoming much more intentional about separating my work into two categories. The first category supports the business. The second category moves the business. Supporting work includes planning, designing, organizing, learning, researching, and maintaining. Moving work includes making the offer, following up, starting meaningful conversations, sending the payment link, asking for the decision, and closing the sale. But both categories matter. But if all your time is spent supporting the business, you can build an impressive machine that never actually goes anywhere. So now, I ask myself, what can I do today that is closest to revenue? Maybe it is following up with somebody who already expressed interest. Maybe it is explaining an offer more clearly. Maybe it is removing unnecessary steps from the buying process. And maybe it is reaching out to a qualified prospect. Maybe it is sending the direct payment link instead of ending the conversation with, "Let me know what you think." That phrase has killed more momentum than people realize. "Let me know what you think" puts the entire conversation into a waiting room, and then they disappear. A stronger approach is clear and respectful. "This is the offer that best matches what you told me you need. Here's the link to secure it." That is not pressure. That's leadership. You listened, you identified the fit, and you made the recommendation, and you gave them a way to act. They still control the decision. But you're no longer hiding your offer behind vague language because you are afraid of hearing no. Another shift I'm making is focusing on closing before constantly trying to create something new. Entrepreneurs love new ideas. A new product feels exciting. A new platform feels promising. A new strategy makes us believe this might finally be the thing that changes everything. But sometimes we don't need another offer. We need to sell the offer that we already have. We need to strengthen the message. We need to talk more to the right people. And we need to follow up. We need to ask better questions. And we need to listen to what the market is actually telling us. Then, after someone becomes a customer and receives real value, we can identify the next appropriate way to help them. That is where upsell can make sense. Not as a trick, not as a way to squeeze more money out of somebody. An ethical upsell says, "You've completed this step. Based on where you are now, this is the next level of support available to you. First close, then deliver. Then, when it genuinely serves the customer, offer the next step." That is a much stronger system than throwing 5 disconnected offers at people and hoping that they choose. I also believe every business owner needs a revenue target. I'm not going to share my private numbers here because every business is different and not every internal decision needs to become public content. But I do have a clear target. It is specific. It is measurable. It gives me something real to work towards each week. And the power of revenue target is not just a number itself. The target forces you to examine your behavior. If you want a certain result, how many offers need to be made? How many qualified conversions need to happen? How many follow-ups are required? What can you sell right now? And what is the gap between where you are and where you want to be? That number gives the work direction. Without direction, We tend to default whatever feels urgent. We respond to notifications. We react to each other. We get distracted by engagement. We start measuring our day by how tired we are instead of what actually changed. But exhaustion is not proof of progress. You can be completely drained from running in circles. And the goal is to not do everything. The goal is to identify the work that matters most and do that work consistently. Let me pause here because this is where my business owners get stuck. You know you need more sales. Well, you may not be able to see where your current customer journey is breaking down. Is it the offer, the messaging, the call to action, the website, the follow-up, or the gap between your audience and what you're asking them to buy? That is what the $99 attention conversion audit is designed to help uncover. Have a look at your current conversion path. Identify the biggest areas of friction and give you the top 3 priorities to address first, along with a personalized video review. If your business is getting attention, but that attention is not turning into enough inquiries or sales, go to neonincome.ai and get your attention conversion audit. There is another side to making money. Moves that people don't discuss enough. You have to protect your energy from activities that imitate opportunity. Not every conversation is a lead, and not every invitation is a collaboration, and not every person asking questions intends to buy. And not every opportunity deserves access to your time. Some people will happily consume your knowledge for free for as long as you continue providing it. They'll ask one more question, then another, and they will tell you they are thinking about it, and they'll ask you to explain what you already explained for the 4th time. And if you never establish a boundary, you can spend hours performing unpaid consulting while telling yourself you're building a relationship. There is a point when the conversation needs to move. And the next step might be the audit. It might be a paid service. It might be a direct purchase, or it might be the end of the conversation. And that's not being rude. That's called a boundary. A real business cannot be built on endless access to your time. Your knowledge has value, and your experience has value. Your ability to see a problem and create a solution has value. You are allowed to stop proving it for free. You're also allowed to reinvest into your business. When revenue starts coming in, the first instinct can be to treat all of it as disposable income. But a growing business needs fuel. Some revenue may need to go back into better equipment, advertising, software, infrastructure, professional support, legal protection, or systems that allow you to serve more people without destroying your capacity. You do not need to announce every investment. You do not need to broadcast every dollar. You don't need to explain your entire private business structure to the internet. But you do need a plan. Revenue without a plan can disappear. And revenue with direction can build the next stage of the business. That's the difference between earning money and building an asset. I want to be honest about something else. Making the next money does not always feel powerful. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels direct. Sometimes it brings up every insecurity you have about your worth. You may wonder whether people will think you are too aggressive. You may worry that talking about your offer too often will annoy them. You may start questioning your price before anyone else does. But if you believe in the result that you provide, hiding the offer does not serve anybody. The right people cannot buy from a business that refuses to be visible about what it sells. You don't have to beg. You don't have to manipulate. You don't have to chase people who have clearly said no. But you do have to communicate. You have to follow up. And you have to make a recommendation. You have to give people a direct path to purchase. And then you have to let them decide. Selling with clarity is not desperation. Desperation is abandoning your standards because you want the sale. Clarity is knowing what you offer, knowing what it costs, knowing who it helps, and communicating that without shrinking. So here's the question I want to leave with you today. What is your next money move? Not your next 10 moves, not your entire annual plan, not the strategy you might use 6 months from now. What is the next move? Is there someone you need to follow up with? Is there an offer that you need to put in front of your audience? Is there a payment link you need to send or create? Is there a call to action missing from your content? Is there a lead sitting in your inbox because you're too afraid to be direct? Is there a free conversation that needs to become a paid engagement or end? Choose one action and then do it today. This is how momentum is built, not through a giant breakthrough, but through repeated decisions that move the business in the right direction. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel unstoppable. Other days you will question the entire thing. Trust me, I know. That is why you cannot build your business around how you feel in any given moment. You need systems. You need targets. You need boundaries. And you need the discipline to take the next meaningful action, even when the emotional fireworks are not there. You do not have to feel ready to follow up. You do not even have to feel fearless to make the offer. And you don't even have to feel motivated to make the progress. You just have to stop hiding inside the work that feels safe. Make the offer, send the link, and ask for the decision. Close, deliver, and then help them to the next step. That is the work. If today's episode made you realize that your business is receiving attention, but you do not have a clear system for turning that attention into customers, start with the $99 attention conversion audit. I will examine your current conversion path, show you where the friction may be happening, and identify the top 3 changes I believe that you should prioritize. You will also receive a personalized video review so you can understand what I'm seeing and why it matters. Get a neonincome.ai and choose the attention conversion audit. Your next money move may not be creating more content. It may be fixing what happens after people find you. I am Jenn Fix, and this is Soul Plus Systems. Remember, attention is powerful, but attention needs direction. Until next time, stop waiting for motivation. Make the money move. See you next one.